In this episode of Inside Alliant, we sadly say farewell after 46 years at CSPP and Alliant. Los Angeles Campus Director Stephanie Byers Bell is retiring. The emotion, the stories, and Stephanie's impact. Let's relive some memories. Stephanie Byers Bell, where do we begin? This is quite the moment. I mean, this is really a special moment to share, and thank you for your willingness to share this experience with us, because this is huge news. I mean, tell us about this moment for you. After 46 years at Alliant, you'll be retiring this November 1st. How are you feeling about this moment in time?
Complicated. I have mixed feelings. I'm going to be, missing the opportunity to engage with students and with you all. So right now I'm in a mixed place.
How did you come to this decision? Walk us through that, because you called me a few weeks back, let me know about your decision to retire. 46 years is a long time, and we just adore you. And this is sad for us, but you know, that moment just reaches you, right? What was going through your mind that day?
Yeah. Well, I had been thinking about it for a while just because of my age and family things. And so the way I got to the place to sort of get my mind around it, I was looking for a sign. And that's when I was like, I started working here on November 1st. November 1st should be my last day. That seemed like, okay, I can get behind that plan. And then it just happens to be, then precisely 46 years, which of course is unheard of.
Unheard of, to say the least. I mean, you were hired at CSPP when it was a standalone institution, correct?
Yes.
And that year was 1978. Your first day, November 1st, 1978. And your last day, as you stated, will be exactly 46 years later.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us about your first job here. What was the job? Where was the campus located? What was it like at CSPP 46 years ago today?
Yeah. So it was a clinical PhD program on Beverly in Vermont in an office building. It didn't look like a school at all. And when I joined, I was kind of working for several departments. There was a registrar, and there was a financial aid person, and there was an admissions person. And so they needed someone to help them with those departments. So I ended up being able to start out by doing, more than one thing. But it was a super exciting time because the campus had just found out that they were going to be accredited by a psychological association. The clinical PhD program was going to be recognized as the first professional school. So the enthusiasm on campus was amazing.
Well, I've been here almost 10 years, and I've known you as the campus director in LA for all 10. When did that happen, when you made that shift? And what transpired to create this role of campus director for you?
Yeah. So that was back in 2005. And that was part of, the structure. The original structure was that CSPP had 4 campuses in California. I really liked working in admissions. I had to be convinced to apply for the campus director position. And in retrospect, I'm glad I listened. I think I was successful in that process in greatly due to the faculty, because the faculty were really encouraging me and writing all these letters of reference. So it was a legit process. I had to do a presentation and go through an interview process. So it was in 2005. And I've got some pictures to share that show like what the staff looked like in 2005 is very different than what it looks like now. But even though that's true, from a student's perspective, all those resources that we used to have physically right here continue to exist for students.
So your role as campus director has changed over the years, and I'm sure you've had other organizations from outside Alliant contact you about working there. You probably had some temptations in the last 46 years. What has kept you at Alliant for so long?
I think I've just felt such a connection because in many ways I grew up here. And the fact that we could, that I could play a part in so many people's that would never have been able to go to graduate school. And so I never wanted to step away from that.
There's probably many, but can you point out one or two of your most fond memories from your time at CSPP and Alliant?
I think like the joy, I used to count, like we would have new student orientation. So I would say, you're our 35th entering class. And I would be so thrilled to see all these people who've gone through the admissions process. They've gone through this whole process and now they're all together and, they're all going to go through this now. And so that just gives me like goosebumps. And then, as I evolved into the campus director role, then I became far more engaged with commencement. So the graduation ceremony is another time where you just feel so touched because there's always just a handful, if not more, people that cross that stage and you know what they've gone through, you know what they have managed to get past to succeed and what difference they're going to make in the world. So I think those beginnings and endings plus everything in between, I enjoy that very much.
So in almost 5 decades at CSP and Alliant, the amount of changes you've seen must be unprecedented. What are some of the most memorable changes, and what do you miss the most about maybe something that changed years ago?
I guess when we merged with USIU and then subsequently became Alliant International University, that was a significant change. There was a moment in time where it seemed like CSPP wouldn't really exist anymore. But then I think the powers that be realized that, CSPP is where the name was, and we should really make Alliant an umbrella for many schools, CSPP being one. And I think that was probably the most significant change because I know enough to know that higher ed has changed so much over the years that had we not made those very difficult changes, CSPP would be no more. And nobody wants to be an alum from a school that doesn't exist anymore. And as we know, many colleges don't exist anymore. So as hard as those changes were in terms of downsizing, reducing our footprint, making some tough changes, I know in the end that those were absolutely necessary. And at this moment in time, to be able to feel confident that I'm leaving, but CSPP is not going away. And that's just such joy for me.
See, I view that as an asset to you. It's called greater good thinking. What's best for the greater good of the organization? And that's it right there. Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. So after all these changes, what's something that's actually remained the same in 46 years that you thoroughly cherish at CSPP and Alliant?
So I've always been involved with the alumni from the very beginning. And from the early days, there were reunions from people that graduated back in the 80s. And then as the university structure shifted over to the Alliant Foundation, I continued to be pretty involved with alumni events. And I think I'll still get invited to alumni events even after November 1st. And I think I'll also be able to be engaged in the scholarship process. I serve on several scholarship committees. So I think those things are things that have resonated with me and have meant a great deal to me. I have a lot of beautiful memories with people that have long since graduated and recently graduated from Alliant. So I think I'm going to enjoy being able to still feel that kind of connection.
What will you miss the most?
I think I'll miss being that person that, if students contact me and it could be just about anything. And I just do often say, no, look, I know a little bit about a lot of things. And I think that has drilled down for people. So, I guess just getting that spontaneous, random, like, blah, 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 I need this. And, I think, okay, well, let's try this, let's do this. And then often things get resolved. And it's a win-win because you've helped the student, you get to feel good about you've helped them, and then it's another win because then you can take that situation and then apply it so that the next time that happens, it's easier for the student.
So I have to ask, what will you miss the least?
Oh gosh, collecting signatures on forms.
Really? I can call you up if you want in retirement and have you come fill out forms. I mean, if you
No, I will not miss that. I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to collect forms, signatures on academic exception forms.
I'll pass that message along to the team. Departing after 46 years at CSPP and Alliant, what advice would you give to someone? You've been here 46 years. What advice would you give to somebody just starting now?
So I would say start and have an open mind and give yourself time. I have always told new employees, it's going to take you at least a year. So I think people want to start and they're like, it takes a while to learn things. And I always encourage people to just know it's going to take a year. It's kind of seasonal. You got to see what happens over the course of an academic year. And then to continue to think of it as it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Give yourself that time and take it in, and be grateful that you get to work in a community that has this kind of universal impact.
You'll have a few hundred colleagues and probably a few hundred students viewing this video. What are your parting words for that group?
Just to say thank you. This has been the greatest opportunity. Not every human gets to find their place in the world professionally, where they get to have the level of satisfaction and immeasurable reward. So I would say that to anyone seeing this probably has had some experience with me, and I'm so very grateful.
Stephanie, it has been a pure pleasure for me personally. You're one of the first people I met when I started at Alliant almost 10 years ago. And I just wanted to thank you. You rolled out the welcome mat. You were nothing but gracious. You allowed me to come in and learn about Alliant. You had the patience to do that too. And you are really a special person. We are going to miss you. And I know I speak for all 400 full-time employees and thousands of students and alumni. You have made your mark. You've had impact that will last forever. And we thank you for that.
You are welcome, and thank you.